Something bad happened to my mom. Please help me. They are hurting my mom.
The janitor had just finished cleaning the 40th floor when a young boy, barely 7, came running down the hall. His voice was trembling, eyes red, his small hands clutching the janitor's sleeve. "Please, you have to help my mom," he whispered. "She's hurt. She can't move." Malik Turner froze, staring down at the boy. It was the CEO's son, the same boy everyone in the building called untouchable. And now at nearly midnight he was alone, terrified, and begging the janitor for help. What Malik didn't know was that this moment would uncover a secret buried deep within the walls of that company, a truth powerful enough to change every life inside it. Before we continue, tell me, where are you watching from? And what time is it right now in your country? Drop your location in the comments below. I love seeing people from all over the world tuning into these stories. And if you enjoy emotional, suspense-filled stories like this one, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you don't miss the next twist. All right, let's get back to the story. The building was almost silent at that hour. The kind of silence that hums through fluorescent lights and echoes through polished glass walls. Malik Turner had just finished mopping the corridor outside the executive offices, the 40th floor of Westbridge Corporation, a place so high above the city that the windows reflected clouds instead of streetlights. He worked the night shift like he always did. No noise, no bosses, no stares, just the quiet rhythm of work. But that night the quiet broke. Not with a sound, but with a sudden presence. A small figure turned the corner at full speed, a boy, no taller than the mop Malik held. He ran straight toward him, nearly tripping, before clutching Malik's sleeve with shaking hands. Hey, slow down there," Malik said gently, bending to meet the boy's frightened eyes. "You okay, little man?" The boy's lower lip trembled. His voice came out soft and broken. "Please, you have to help my mom. She's hurt. She can't move." Malik blinked, trying to process. He'd seen this boy before, Ethan Caldwell, the CEO's son. The child who usually passed by surrounded by assistants, his father's bodyguards walking 3 steps behind him. Malik had never spoken to him before tonight. "Where's your mom, Ethan?" Malik asked, his voice calm but urgent. Ethan pointed down the hall toward the large frosted glass doors at the end, the CEO's private office suite. "In there," he whispered, tears streaking down his cheeks. Malik's heart started to pound. No one was supposed to be in the building this late, except him and a few security guards downstairs. He dropped his mop and glanced toward the doors. The lights inside were dim, flickering slightly. "All right, kid," he said softly. "Stay right here, okay? I'm gonna go check on her." But the boy shook his head violently and clung tighter. "No, don't leave me. Please!" Something in his tone, that raw, pleading fear, froze Malik in place. He knelt down again, lowering himself to Ethan's level. "Okay," he said. "Then we go together." The two of them moved slowly down the corridor, Malik's shoes squeaking against the spotless floor. Every step echoed in the vast hallway. When they reached the doors, Malik noticed something odd. One of the handles was slightly bent, as if someone had tried to force it. He tried pushing, but it was locked. He called softly through the crack. "Mrs. Caldwell? Ma'am, can you hear me?" No response. Only the faint hum of the building's ventilation. Malik reached into his pocket and pulled out his security pass, a lower-level access card that usually didn't open executive offices. Still, he swiped it once, just in case. A red light blinked. "Denied," he sighed, turning back to Ethan. "Buddy, it's locked. I'll have to call security." Ethan's eyes widened again, tears welling up.
"Please, hurry."
Malik nodded and reached for his walkie-talkie. But before he could speak, a faint thud sounded from inside the office, followed by a noise like glass shifting on a desk. Malik and Ethan both froze. He lowered the radio, muscles tensing. "Stay behind me," he whispered. The hallway suddenly felt colder. Malik's instincts screamed that something wasn't right. He'd spent years working quietly, unnoticed. But tonight, something had found him, and it all started with a frightened little boy who shouldn't have been there at all. Malik's heartbeat echoed in his ears. The quiet of the 40th floor felt unnatural now. Heavy, tense, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. He stepped closer to the glass doors, his eyes narrowing through the frosted pane. Shapes moved faintly behind it. Shadows, quick and uncertain like someone stumbling. "Mrs. Caldwell?" He called again, louder this time. "It's Malik, the janitor. Are you all right?" No answer. Ethan gripped his pant leg, hiding half behind him. "Please open it," the boy whispered. His voice cracked. "I think she's still in there." Malik hesitated only a second longer before making his decision. He set his mop aside, rolled up his sleeves, and gave the door a hard pull. The latch didn't budge. He tried again, this time with his shoulder. The glass rattled but held firm. "All right," he muttered, backing up. "Stand back, kid!" With one solid push, the lock gave way, the door swinging open with a metallic crack that echoed through the hallway. The lights inside flickered, one overhead panel blinking on and off, casting the CEO's office in alternating flashes of light and shadow. Papers were scattered across the marble floor, a chair overturned near the desk. The faint smell of perfume lingered in the air, mixed with something sharp. Fear, maybe, or adrenaline. Malik's eyes scanned the room. "Mrs. Caldwell?" A soft sound, a groan came from behind the desk. Malik hurried forward and found Clara Caldwell lying on the floor, conscious but pale, her breathing shallow. She looked disoriented, clutching her side. "Oh my God," Malik breathed. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" Her lips moved faintly. "Ethan, is he safe?" The boy darted forward, dropping to his knees beside her. "Mom!" he cried. "I'm here!" Clara reached out, brushing his cheek weakly. Malik grabbed his walkie-talkie and called for help, his voice firm, steady, despite the tremor in his chest. "This is Turner, maintenance floor 40. Medical emergency. I need assistance immediately." Static hissed back. No reply. The radios were dead. He looked down at Ethan and Clara, then back at the silent hallway. The building felt emptier than ever, like they were the only 3 people left in the world. And somewhere in that silence, Malik realized, this wasn't just an accident. Something, or someone, had caused it. Sirens finally echoed faintly from the lower floors 20 minutes later. Malik had wrapped his jacket around Clara's shoulders, trying to keep her conscious while Ethan refused to let go of her hand. When the elevator doors opened, 2 security guards rushed in, followed closely by the building's night supervisor and, moments later, a tall man in an expensive suit with cold, furious eyes, Richard Caldwell, the CEO. Malik had seen him only from a distance before, but up close, the man's presence filled the entire room. His jaw clenched, his voice cutting through the air like glass. "What happened here?" Richard demanded, eyes darting from the broken lock to Malik's janitor badge to his wife lying on the floor. Malik stood, hands raised slightly. "Sir, she was already hurt when I got here." "Your son, my son?" Richard snapped, turning sharply toward Ethan. The boy flinched. "Ethan, what are you doing here this late?" Ethan didn't answer. His lips trembled, eyes filled with confusion and fear. Malik tried to explain again. "He came to find help." "I just—" "Don't," Richard interrupted, pointing a sharp finger at him. "Don't you dare speak to me." "You broke into my office!" Malik froze. "Sir, the door was locked. I had to get in to help your wife." But Richard wasn't listening. One of the guards whispered something in his ear. Something about finding Malik's fingerprints on the handle, his jacket over Clara, and the mess around the desk. It was enough. "Call the police," Richard ordered. "He's not going anywhere," Ethan gasped. "No, Dad, he didn't do anything. He helped us." But Richard ignored his son, his voice shaking with anger, or fear, Malik couldn't tell which. "I trusted this company's security, and this man, this janitor, breaks into my office and touches my family." Malik took a slow step back, heart pounding. He wanted to shout, to defend himself. But one look at the guards reaching for their radios told him it was useless. Ethan broke free from his father's grip, running to Malik's side. "He's telling the truth, please!" The CEO's face softened for a second, just a second, before his mask of control returned. "Take the boy home," he told an assistant coldly, "and get this man out of my building." As they led Malik away, he looked back one last time. Ethan's small hand was pressed against the glass door, his face pale and tear-streaked, and in that moment, Malik knew the truth was much darker than anyone was willing to admit. The next morning, the sun rose over the glass towers of Westbridge Corporation, but inside the building, the atmosphere was colder than ever. Rumors spread quickly. The janitor arrested, the CEO's wife hospitalized, the child sent home early. No one knew what really happened. Malik sat in a small security room waiting. They hadn't pressed formal charges yet, but his suspension was certain. His mind replayed the scene again and again, the look in Ethan's eyes, the fear in Clara's voice, and Richard's fury. None of it made sense. Meanwhile, miles away in the Caldwell mansion, Ethan sat on the edge of his bed, still wearing last night's shirt. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't stop thinking about Malik, the man who had helped his mom while everyone else was too afraid to act. When his father left for work that morning, Ethan did something bold. He sneaked into the home office, where stacks of files covered the CEO's desk. Among the papers, he noticed a folder labeled Private Internal Audit. His small hands trembled as he opened it. Inside were bank statements, secret transfers, and a note with his mother's name at the top, Clara Caldwell, followed by one word in red ink: liability. Ethan didn't understand everything, but he knew one thing. His mom had been blamed for something she didn't do. He stuffed a few papers into his backpack and waited until noon before sneaking out. By evening, he reached Malik's small apartment near the city's edge. The janitor opened the door in shock. "Ethan, what are you doing here?" The boy's eyes were determined. "I found something." "About my dad. About what really happened." 2 weeks passed before the truth finally surfaced. Malik had been suspended, questioned, and quietly humiliated. The story twisted into something ugly by whispers in the building. The janitor broke into the CEO's office. He overstepped. He caused trouble, but Malik never once spoke against anyone. He kept showing up to clear his name, calm but determined. And far away from all the noise, Ethan had been trying to uncover what really happened. Late one night, the boy snuck into his father's home office, while Richard Caldwell was asleep. His small hands trembled as he scrolled through the computer files, remembering what his mother had told him before she left for treatment. She hadn't fallen. She had discovered something. Something that someone didn't want anyone to know. Ethan's eyes widened when he found it. Financial documents. Secret transactions and evidence pointing not to Malik, but to one of Richard's closest partners, who had tried to frame Clara to protect himself. The next morning, Ethan stood in front of his father's desk, tears in his eyes but courage in his voice. "Dad," he said, "you were wrong about Malik. He saved Mom, and I can prove it." He handed over the files. Richard scrolled through them in stunned silence. His face went pale. Hours later, the truth broke open. Malik was cleared of all suspicion, and the real culprit was exposed. When Richard found Malik again, he didn't speak right away. He simply extended a hand. "I owe you an apology, and my gratitude." Malik hesitated, then shook his hand. "Just glad your family's safe, sir." As they left the office, Ethan ran up and hugged him tightly around the waist. "You're my hero," the boy whispered. For the first time in a long while, Malik smiled, not as an employee, but as someone who had finally been seen for who he truly was. From that day on, he wasn't just the janitor. He became the quiet guardian of the place, respected, valued, and remembered. If this story touched your heart, don't scroll away just yet. Tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you were Malik that night? I read every single comment. And if you love emotional stories about courage, kindness, and truth, subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss the next one. Your support keeps these stories alive.